Okay, welcome everyone to this deep dive. We've got this specific stack of recent articles you shared, all from CoinMarketCap contributors. And our mission really is to unpack them, see what nuggets of knowledge, what insights we can pull out.
Yeah, think of it like getting a quick snapshot, an
Hmm.
informed look at what these particular analysts and writers have been saying, just based only on these sources you sent over. What are they talking about right now?
Exactly. And we're going to kick things off by um, digging into one specific article that kind of caught my eye. It suggests a potential rebound for Ethereum Name Service ENS based on what the author calls a key emerging pattern.
Right, but it's definitely not just ENS, as you saw from that list. These sources, they cover quite a range. Other altcoins may be facing challenges, some brand new projects getting, well, serious traction,
Yeah.
and even mentions of macro factors, things some see as influential, plus, how capital is moving around.
Right. So the stage is set. What picture of the current crypto market emerges when we look just at what the specific contributors on CoinMarketCap have been highlighting lately? Let's dive in.
Well, what's interesting right off the bat is just the sheer variety. You've got different people looking at very different signals and coming to pretty different conclusions about various parts of the market.
Absolutely. Let's start with that ENS piece then. The article's titled Ethereum Name Service, ENS, to Rebound. Key emerging patterns suggests potential upside move. It's a guest post by CoinsProbe.
Yeah, and see, the headline poses it as a question to rebound, but
Okay.
the core argument in that source seems to be this key emerging pattern, something they see in the chart or the data maybe, suggesting potential upside for ENS, looking at technicals, basically.
Okay, so one contributor is looking at ENS, that's the crypto domain name thing, simplifying wallet addresses and sees a potential move up based on patterns. But if we widen the lens, look at the other articles you shared, we get some, well, very different vibes for other coins.
That's for sure. If we shift gears to, say, Shiba Inu, the view from Coinpedia News is quite different according to that source, ISHIB's price. It's showing oversold status.
Oversold.
Yeah.
Right, so technical analysis might say it's maybe undervalued, could bounce, but the article also flags issues. It mentions weak market momentum, shaking confidence. Investors are apparently moving on.
And this is key, that whales are shifting to new plays.
Yeah.
The article even points to one place, Unilabs, and highlights a specific $560,000 whale bet on what they're calling a viral altcoin.
Wow, okay, so ENS potentially up based on patterns, but SHIB facing challenges, investors, even whales looking elsewhere according to that source.
Exactly. It shows the contrast.
It's fascinating, the different focuses. The sources also hit on other old coins, completely different stories. Quantum Media talks about SUI, something about gaining steam with L2 buzz.
Yeah, L2 layer 2 tech, solutions built on top of blockchains like Ethereum to make them faster, cheaper. So SUI is getting attention because of activity around scaling. That same source, Media, also mentions Monero XMR.
Ah, the privacy coin.
Right. Saying it's holding steady in privacy markets. Seems stable based on that report.
So he's got potential technical plays like ENS, established coins maybe facing issues like SHIB, tech trends like L2 for SUI, and stability and privacy with Monero. Quite a mix already.
And then there's the interest in completely new stuff. Media, again, they introduced Qubetics, describing it as emerging as a top crypto presale.
A presale. So an early chance for investors before it hits public exchanges, right?
Yeah.
And the article says Qubetics' momentum comes from its real-world tokenization platform.
Yeah, real-world tokenization, basically putting physical assets or traditional finance stuff onto the blockchain. Big trend. The source notes Qubetics is driving $17.05 plus in presale momentum, which is, well, pretty significant for that stage.
Definitely shows contributors are looking beyond just the usual suspects, highlighting these early-stage projects with specific uses, like tokenization, which I guess brings up the external factors. BitcoinInfoNews.com mentions a macro element, reporting on China issuing some kind of warning amidst U.S. tensions.
Right. And that source states the situation impacts crypto markets and assets. Now, obviously, we're just relaying what that specific source claims from the article you shared, not, taking a stance on the geopolitics or its actual market impact.
Of course, it just shows some analysts are looking at that bigger picture, bringing global events into their crypto analysis.
Yeah. And speaking of analysis, looking for potential gains, Crypto Newsland offers another angle.
Yeah.
That source looks at BlockDAG, mentions its price, 0.0082, and frames it as potentially the next big break. Even calls it the best crypto to buy now, potentially.
Strong language.
Yeah.
And what's the context there?
Well, the article talks about market optimism on the rise, the idea of finding things before the next surge. But interestingly, that same article also mentions more established names like Binance Coin, BNB, Tronon, TRX, and Near Protocol Near in that same discussion.
So looking for potential big movers, both new and existing, if the market stays optimistic.
Seems to be the idea from that contributor, yeah. Identifying perceived growth potential.
And just to underline the sheer variety here, from technicals to macro to pre-sales,
Right.
CoinLineup.com apparently reported on Moonshot launching something called FUCKCOIN on Solana.
Yep. With a $9.6 million market cap at launch, according to that source. So meme coins are definitely still in the mix, still getting talked about on these platforms.
Never a dull moment. Okay, so what about the bigger picture, like money moving around?
Right. Finally, we've got a source on broader capital flows. Crypto breaking news, citing CoinShares data, they report a 286.6 evil surge in crypto funds just last week.
A surge, okay. And anything specific within that?
Yeah, what's notable is that Ether apparently topped the purchases within those funds. The article describes that week as having significant fluctuation, though seeing both investment inflows and selling pressures. So, a bit of a tug of war.
Got it. Okay, so let's try and connect these dots. What picture emerges from just these specific CoinMarketCap articles you share?
Well, it seems like a market where analysts are navigating a really complex space, right? Pulled in different directions. You've got these tactical bets on technicals, like maybe with ENS. Then signals of established coins like a SHIB facing headwinds, investor rotation perhaps, continued interest in specific tech like layer 2s, and these new opportunities, real-world tokenization pre-sales like Qubetics or potential next big things like BlockDAG.
Right.
On top of that, you have some pointing to external macro factors like the US-China tensions mentioned. Meme coins are clearly still a thing. And underneath it all, institutional capital flows showing, well, pretty significant interest in assets like Ether even during volatile weeks.
So what does this patchwork quilt of analysis mean for you, the listener? I think seeing these different perspectives is incredibly valuable and shows you the multiple angles people are taking. They're not just looking at charts or just news or just whale wallets. They're considering technicals, sentiment, whale moves, new tech, pre-sales, macro stuff, fund flows, all of it.
Exactly. It really highlights how fast the narrative can shift in crypto and just how many different data points, different interpretations are constantly being published by contributors, often focusing on completely different things at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to recap, we've taken a deep dive into this specific stack of articles, pulling out the key points only from those sources you provided, from potential ENS patterns and SHIB's reported status to these emerging pre-sales focusing on specific tech, how macro is viewed by some, the ongoing presence of meme coins, and those significant fund flows into things like Ether.
It's a diverse snapshot for sure, just based on that selection of recent contributor posts.
Right. And maybe it leaves us with this thought for you to mull over. Given this picture, so many different factors, so many individual analyses constantly popping up, often with conflicting signals, how do you personally navigate all this information? How do you form your own understanding of what might actually be happening out there in the market?